Okay, guys, so lesson 3.2, we're going to determine unit rates with ratios of fractions. Okay, so we're using fractions. We're still going to find the unit rate. It's a lot like the last one. The function tables, though, before went horizontal. Now vertical. Now they're going to be horizontal. Okay, so this is a function table laid on its side. It says, why is it useful to write a ratio of fractions as a unit rate? Okay, so we're going to figure this out. So first, example 2, in the first part of example 2, they said brown winds could mow the lawn at 18,000 feet squared an hour. Then in the next part of example 2, they said Daniel's brother also goes through and mows lawns, and that he could do 15,000 in 3/4 of an hour, but which one is quicker? Okay, so I'm going to show you how to go through and use this as a ratio table out here and be able to figure out these. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to realize that this is feet squared per hour. This is still y over x. In other words, if I look over here, this is y and this is x. Okay, so the one is still dependent on the other. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. In order to find out per hour, I need to get this to be 1. So what I do is I multiply this by the reciprocal, right? The reciprocal of a fraction will always equal 1. But in order to keep this ratio compliant, I have to also multiply this by 4/3, okay? Now we know already this is 1. What we need to find is this. So what I do is I can put this into fraction form, right? And if it'll let me, I'm going to cross cancel and solve this fairly quickly. And yes, it does. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 15,000 divided by 3 is 5,000. And so 5,000 times 4, 20,000. Okay, so in other words, Daniel actually will mow 20,000 feet squared in an hour, where Brownwind only does 18,000 feet squared in an hour, so Daniel is quicker. So hopefully that was pretty clear. I know it was pretty quick, but hopefully it's pretty clear. Okay, so let's look at a couple more examples so we can figure this out. Now remember, guys, you can always ask questions about this stuff, okay? So this one I don't have a whole lot written up because you're looking at my notes a lot. Okay, so this is example 3. Now, what we're doing is we're looking at a map. Okay, so they're saying each centimeter is worth so many miles. Okay, and they gave you a scenario to show that. And what we're looking at here is 5 and 5/6. In other words, 5 miles equals 5/6 of a centimeter. Okay, and so what we're going to do first is we're going to find the unit rate. So in other words, we do the same thing we did over there. I'm just not using the boxes. I'm going to multiply this by 6/5. So I'm going to multiply this by 6/5. This, of course, equals 1. Okay. This right here, I could make this as 5/1. That way I can cross cancel these and see that 6 miles is 1 centimeter. Okay, this is why it's important to realize what you're comparing, because it'll help you to order your information. Okay, so 6 miles per centimeter, 6 miles per 1 centimeter. This becomes our unit rate. This was a rate when they said 5 miles and 5/6 of a centimeter. This is a rate, but this is our unit rate because it has a 1 on the bottom. Now, at this point, they're saying, how much does 3.5 centimeters equal? Okay, so what we do is we take 6/1 and we're going to multiply it by 3.5. Okay, so all we're actually doing is, I can multiply this by 3.5 also, but we know that the centimeters needs to turn to 3.5. Okay, so we're keeping the ratio So in order to convert this, I'm going to convert this into an improper fraction. So in other words, this is 7/2 over 7/2. So this is not what we're going to use. We're going to use this. So this is going to equal 42 halves. 6 times 7, 42 halves over 7/2. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is convert both of these so we know what the rate is for 3.5 centimeters, how many miles that is. 42 divided by 2 is 21. And then put that back into 3.5. Okay. So in other words, 3.5 centimeters is 21 miles. That's how we figure that one out. Okay, guys? Okay. So this is going pretty quick, right? So hopefully you guys are catching on to this. Remember, ask questions if you don't understand. Okay, this last one is going to be your quiz question. Okay. So I thought this was a little confusing. The biggest thing I'm helping you do here is to go through and organize the information, but also you're going to see why I did this one here in a minute. Okay. So this one's running out a little bit of ink, so let's use the other one. Okay, so they're saying yards per inches, okay? And we're going to go through and convert this. So, of course, just like before, I'm going to go through and multiply these by the reciprocal so that we can get 1. So this is going to be multiplied by 4/3. This is going to be multiplied by 4/3. Okay? So we're multiplying these by 4/3. This becomes 1, so we can find the unit rate. This one I can't cross cancel. I put this over 1. I can't cross cancel anything. So this becomes 200 over 3. Now here's the deal. They want to know how many yards it is for 3 inches. And the thing is, you need to evaluate this. A lot of you might want to go through and put this into a decimal or an mixed number. But the thing is, if we're multiplying by 3, I can cross cancel this real easily. In other words, we just go like this, guys. Okay, so I'm going to go out a little bit further. I'm going to multiply this by 3 over 1. I'm going to multiply this by 3. This becomes my 3 inches that I needed, right? This one I can cross cancel, and we just automatically know that it is 200 yards for 3 inches. You guys see how that works? So it pays to go through and actually evaluate as you go. Look a step ahead before you go through and make these changes in here. But I wanted to show you this one just for that reason. This is a lot easier to solve in fact, you actually can't solve it very well unless you leave this as a fraction midway through once we find the unit rate. Okay, guys? So that's lesson 3.2. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you